This is the story of a 50-year-old man named Humbert. He develops an emotional attachment to a 14-year-old girl and, to stay close to her, marries her mother. The two cross many moral boundaries. The movie is called Lolita, based on a novel. The story begins in the 1950s America. Humbert hits a man with his car. His face is covered in blood, and he seems lost in someone's memories. He says, "Lolita was my life." The film then shifts into a flashback, showing Humbert's childhood. When he was 14 years old and living in France, a girl named Annabelle arrived in his town. They were both the same age and quickly fell in love. Their bond deepened, but it didn't last long, because Annabelle became ill and passed away. This incident left Humbert devastated. After Annabelle's death, Humbert could never truly fall in love again. He spent his entire youth searching for someone who looked like Annabelle. Years later, now 40 years old, he gets a job at an American college where he is supposed to begin teaching the following semester. However, he heads to America early for summer vacation, as he was working on a novel he hoped to complete during the break. In America, Humbert goes to rent a house referred to him by a friend of his uncle. The house belongs to a widow named Charlotte. Humbert doesn't like the house. It's small and messy. Charlotte, however, tries to attract him. He wants to leave, but then he sees her daughter, whom everyone calls Lolita. She's 14 years old, the same age as Annabelle when she died, and just as beautiful. Lolita's smile stops Humbert in his tracks. Even though he didn't like the house, he agrees to stay as a paying guest for $20. He begins living in a small room and tries to work on his novel. He sees Annabelle in Lolita and begins watching her secretly. Though Lolita is young, she seems mature for her age. She realizes early on that Humbert is fond of her. At times, she acts playfully around him, sitting in his lap or being close. Although Humbert knows this is inappropriate, he finds it difficult to control his emotions. Charlotte becomes charmed by Humbert and begins to dream of marrying him. The next day, she takes Humbert to a lake and tells him that she has decided to send Lolita to summer camp. Lolita doesn't want to go, but her mother ignores her protests. On the day Lolita is leaving for camp, Humbert wakes up late. When he goes to the window, Lolita sees him, jumps out of the car, runs inside, hugs him tightly, and kisses him on the cheek. Humbert becomes emotionally overwhelmed and begins to relive that moment again and again in his imagination. After Lolita goes to camp, Charlotte sends Humbert a letter through her maid proposing marriage. Humbert accepts it, as he believes it's the best way to remain close to Lolita. They get married, and Humbert waits eagerly for Lolita's return from camp. By now, he's completely under Lolita's influence and starts giving Charlotte sleeping pills to avoid physical intimacy. Charlotte has no idea about Humbert's feelings for Lolita. It remains their secret for a while. But one day, while Humbert is away, Charlotte reads his diary. In it, she discovers Humbert's emotions and thoughts about Lolita. She realizes that his feelings are highly inappropriate. Enraged, she confronts Humbert when he returns, calls him a monster, and leaves the house. But suddenly, Charlotte has an accident and dies on the spot. Humbert feels a little sad, but now he is completely free. There was no one left to put restrictions on his relationship with Lolita. He doesn't tell Lolita about her mother's death and says she's in the hospital. He goes to the camp to pick her up, and upon seeing her innocence, he once again falls in love with her. He says that he missed her a lot. Lolita says, "You don't care about me because you haven't kissed me yet." Humbert is shocked to see Lolita's boldness and stops the car by the roadside. They begin kissing each other passionately, and this was just the beginning of their romantic relationship. Humbert says that they will stay in a hotel and go to the hospital the next day to meet her mother. At the hotel, Lolita meets a man named Claire and gets attracted to him as well. Humbert also meets Claire, but he doesn't know him by name. He thinks Claire is some sort of spy investigating his wife's death in the hotel. Their romantic relationship becomes intense, and they start living the moment openly. In the morning, they leave the hotel, and at a fuel station, Lolita tells Humbert that she wants to go to the hospital to meet her mother. But Humbert tells her the truth, that her parents are no more and her mother died in an accident. This is a big shock for Lolita. Back at the hotel, she cries all day. Now there was no reason to return home, and the two set out to travel across America. Along the way, they stay in many hotels and enjoy themselves like they're on a honeymoon. Finally, they reach college, where Humbert starts his teaching job and Lolita joins school. Even here, their physical relationship continues, but to the world, they appear like a guardian and daughter. Lolita used to sexually manipulate Humbert to fulfill her demands. One day, Humbert goes to Lolita's school to watch her play, where he finds out that the entire play was written by Claire, the same man Lolita met at the hotel. As time passes, their relationship is no longer as romantic as it used to be. Humbert starts feeling insecure, fearing that Lolita might leave him. One day, Humbert finds some money with Lolita and suspects that she got it to run away with someone else. Then one day at a restaurant, Humbert sees Lolita talking to someone on the phone. When she sees him, she quickly hangs up and behaves strangely, as if she's hiding something. Before their relationship worsens further, Humbert decides to take her on another trip. This time, Lolita decides where they will go. On their way, Humbert feels that someone is following them. It might be Claire. One time, they stop at a gas station and Humbert goes inside to buy some things. When he comes back out, he sees Lolita talking to an unknown man. As he quickly comes out, the man is already gone. When Humbert asks, she says he was just lost. Humbert suspects that the man was none other than Claire. As the journey continues, Humbert constantly feels that Claire is following them by changing cars. When they stop at a hotel, Humbert goes out for a while to buy some things. When he returns, he finds Lolita looking a bit messy. Her hair is disheveled, her clothes are slightly out of place, and her lipstick is smudged. Humbert suspects that someone came after he left. Lolita says that she had just gone outside to see whether Humbert had come back or not, and no one had come there. But seeing her lipstick, Humbert becomes restless. That night too, they become physically intimate, but Humbert constantly fears that someone will take Lolita away from him, or that he won't be able to bear it. They continue their journey and stop at a hotel. There, Lolita suddenly falls ill, so Humbert immediately takes her to the hospital. After the checkup, the doctor says she has a viral fever and will have to stay in the hospital that night. Humbert returns to the hotel after leaving Lolita at the hospital. In the morning, when he calls the hospital to inquire, he finds out that she didn't have a viral fever and was already fine by morning. Then her uncle came and got her discharged and took her with him. Hearing this, the ground slips beneath Humbert's feet. He rushes to the hospital in panic and starts arguing with everyone. When he sees the police coming toward him, he calms down, apologizes to everyone, and leaves. In reality, Lolita was never sick. It was just a plan made by her and Claire to escape. Humbert puts all his efforts into finding Lolita. He visits every hotel they had stayed in earlier, hoping to find some clues. While checking hotel registers, he notices a particular handwriting. The man who had stayed in those hotels had used a different name each time. He tries hard to find him, but there's no sign of Lolita. He wonders, could there be another lover besides me? But then convinces himself that no one could love Lolita like he does. Slowly, 3 years pass. One day, he suddenly receives a letter from Lolita in which she writes that she's married now and pregnant, but her financial situation is not good and she needs money. Humbert immediately heads to the address written in the letter. 3 years later, he meets Lolita. Lolita had married a man named Dick, and even after 3 years, Humbert wants to know who the man was who took Lolita away from him. Then he finds out that a wealthy and older man had lured Lolita. His name was Claire, and he used to meet Lolita in Humbert's absence. Lolita says she was completely in love with Claire. Hearing this, Humbert's heart breaks. Lolita says that when she first went to his house, she discovered that Claire ran an adult industry and was fond of teenage girls. But Lolita didn't want to sleep with any other man, only with Claire. Hearing this, Claire threw her out. Humbert now feels sorry for Lolita as she was living in poverty. Humbert asks her to come with him, but she flatly refuses and says, I don't want to go anywhere with you. It would have been better if I'd stayed with Claire. Hearing this, Humbert's heart shatters and he looks at her one last time. Then he gives her some money, apologizes for everything he ever did to her, and leaves. After that, Humbert heads to Claire's house to kill him because he had taken away the girl Humbert loved more than his own life and then left her on the streets. Yet Lolita still adored Claire. Humbert reaches Claire's mansion, but Claire doesn't remember anything. Not his face, not his name. Humbert tells him that he only uses girls, stalks them, brings them in to work in plays, and then makes them do indecent acts. It's not necessary for him to remember them all. Then Claire says he remembers now. He says he never forced Lolita. She came to him on her own, and when she didn't like the work there, she left on her own. Then Claire, to save his life, offers Humbert to stay in his mansion. There, he will find beautiful teenage girls and every pleasure he ever dreamed of. This incident makes Humbert even angrier. His anger was not just about obscenity, but it was filled with emotions. He shoots Claire multiple times and kills him. After this, he leaves the place. And friends, this scene was actually the same first scene of the movie where we see Humbert driving the car, lost in the memories of Lolita. The police are after him for the crime of Claire's murder, but he doesn't even try to escape. He didn't care about his life anymore because the girl he loved so much didn't love him back. The police arrest him and he is sent to jail. Within a year of being in jail, he dies due to illness, and in the very next month, Lolita passes away after giving birth to her child. Friends, with this, the brilliant movie comes to an end. Through this movie, an attempt has been made to show how such illegitimate relationships end. I hope you liked this video. If you liked it, please like, share, and tell in the comments which movie should be broken down next. See you in the next video. Till then, take care and goodbye.